When I came to Congress some 7 years after that, and a half a dozen years after the voting rights law was passed, it wasn't even a dream that I would succeed Adam Clayton Powell here in the Congress. Not a dream, wasn't even conceived. And when I got here, there were 9 members, black members of Congress. And I was in a class in 1971 of 4 blacks that joined in and made the 13 of us, and we then formed the Congressional Black Caucus, 13 members. Because of the Voting Rights Act, because so many people, especially in the southern states, had the ability to not only vote, but to pick their candidates in order to vote, to create the congressional districts. In 10 years, it became 13 members of the Black Caucus, and now 43. Now, all of this can be traced directly to that march. I am so proud of John Lewis. My ventures in these civil rights marches were always temporary. I'd go, and then I'll come back. I didn't even intend to march the 54 miles, the last march. But people like Andy Young and John Lewis devoted their lives. They tested whether or not America was going to kill them, and they were prepared to die in this struggle for equal rights. And when the Supreme Court made its decision to adversely affect the Civil Rights Act and deny people the right to vote, there was a tear in John Lewis's eyes as he said that the Supreme Court was one of the goals and the hopes that kept the civil rights marchers together. I said, how, John? How? He said, somehow among the group that didn't believe that they could control or influence the keepers of the dogs or the governors that would keep them out of the schools or the races that would attempt to lynch the people, or the Congress that refused to recognize their rights as human beings. But the Constitution, the Supreme Court, he said, was a light that kept them out of the darkness and allowed them never to lose hope and to continue the struggle. But as a result of the recent Supreme Court decision, that hope has been taken away from him. And to see that being shattered, and to see that the states affected are the very same states that they have removed away the pre-clearance obligation that they would have before they altered any election laws locally in the state, are the same states, the same jurisdictions that we had the Supreme Court to single out in the very same place. So in a sense, from slavery until this interview, the battle continues. The problem is not solved. And indeed, people lack the courage to honestly discuss the depth of racism in this country, and indeed throughout the world.